Good evening and afternoon, depending on where you are. We're really excited. This is the Leadership Enterprise for Diverse America Recruitment and Admissions webinar. The goal of our discussion this evening will be to familiarize you with what LEDA is and what you can expect when you apply and get in. And of course, we will walk you through the application process so you'll get all the information you'll need to know on how to apply, and then of course, what to expect when you join this program. Before we begin, we're going to go ahead and introduce our esteemed panelists here. I am Josh Rosenthal. I'm the Director of Curriculum and Facilitation with LEDA, as well as Senior Program Officer.
Hello. I'm Iris Early. I'm the Director of Recruitment and Admissions here at LEDA.
Hi everyone, my name is Syra Alanis and I am LEDA's program assistant, but I'm also a LEDA scholar, cohort 6. I'm originally from Los Fresnos, Texas, so deep, deep South Texas, and I'm a recent graduate of Rice University.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know who should go.
Mamadou, go for it.
My name is Mamadou. I live in New York City, and I'm cohort 11, so I'm like the baby of the cohorts, and hopefully I'm Stanford class of 2020.
Okay. My name is Kiana. I am cohort 8, and I'm originally from Mississippi-Alabama, but now I live in New York City as well, and I go to school at Barnard College, psych major, that kind of thing.
Wonderful, thank you. So we have 3 LEDA scholars with us this evening, and as you heard Mamadou mention, the baby of the group, what that means is that we just completed cohort number 11. So everything we're going to discuss this evening has to do with you being a part of cohort number 12. So first of all, what is LEDA? Leadership Enterprise for a Diverse America. We are a national not-for-profit college access organization, but we're far more than that. So what that means to be a non-for-profit, first and foremost, is that our organization is built around a mission, right? And that mission is a response to a problem that we've identified in this country. We're not the only ones that believe this is a problem, but we have seen that, on the one hand, we have the best higher education system in America, right? I'm sorry, in the world. And on the other hand, however, we have the most expensive higher education system in the world. We find this discrepancy to be unfair, and we're not the only ones. So what we seek to do is we seek to equalize educational opportunity to ensure that those who want to work hard can be able to get in and succeed at the nation's very best universities. Why? Because at the nation's very best universities is where we largely draw our leadership pool. So we're talking about leaders in politics, in law, in science, in education, in art, in all types of sectors. Most of our nation's leaders come from the very best and most selective schools, colleges, and universities. We want to ensure, however, that that leadership pool is most representative of who we are as a nation, right? So a lot of the best universities in this nation have a history, okay, of admitting and graduating only a small select portion of the population, right? Well, if we continue to do that, then we're only tapping a very small part of the talent, resources, motivation of this nation. And the reason why we exist as an organization is to ensure that all of the people that we are selecting and that occupy leadership positions represent who we are as a nation. Thus, we seek to infuse diversity into the nation's very best universities and thus leadership sectors. Now, the way we execute this is we recruit all across the nation, and we select 100 scholars to join each cohort. So like I said, you guys will be a part of cohort number 12, and we will select 100 from across the nation, right? And what happens first, the first stage of intervention once you join this program, is we host a summer institute at Princeton University in New Jersey. The summer institute is a 7-week intensive academic, social, emotional, spiritual, anything else you can think of, experience that seeks to help and prepare the nation's brightest young minds not only to succeed in college, but to succeed beyond and contribute to communities at home and anywhere else you might find yourselves. All right, so what I'd like to do as briefly as possible is take you on a tour, so to speak, of the Summer Institute. The Summer Institute consists of 5 different components, okay? First and foremost, one of the most time-consuming components of the Institute is a course we call Aspects of Leadership, okay? The Institute itself is called the Aspects of Leadership Summer Institute because we very much value these skills and knowledge required to be a leader, all right? As I mentioned before, a leader in many different ways, okay? So in this course, which is a seminar-style discussion-based course, we put our scholars through a 7-week intensive academic program that looks at the 21st century's toughest policy and ethical decisions that leaders have to make, okay? So we engage in a lot of different types of learning methodologies in class that ensure a memorable experience, okay? So there's very little lecture in this course, but it's primarily based on student participation, okay? And some of the methodologies include debates, role play, student presentations, small group work, larger group discussions, really based on identifying a problem and working with others to help solve it, okay? Now, what we find in this course is that it's very scholar-driven. It's very learner-centered. So the course is taught by instructors that we call facilitators. These are not professors. We call them facilitators very deliberately because they are there to facilitate critical thinking and skills development. Okay? Now, since we have the luxury of having 3 scholars here, I would love to hear from them about their own experience in aspects of leadership. Beginning with Kiana, if you could think about what is some of the more memorable moments, or just the most memorable moment of your time in aspects of leadership.
Well, I really like aspects because I feel like before that, obviously, like in high school classes and stuff like that, that I really hadn't had the opportunity to do anything creative, to really, really critically think about a project and then like execute it in some way. Probably my most memorable was the time that we did, it was some kind of it was about whistleblowing and like how people operate in the media, and so we had to have this like mock press conference, and we had like a certain prompt that was given to us, and then we had to kind of numb it down, I guess, to make it not so people, like the people that were watching the news wouldn't be so scared of whatever it was, so we had to kind of make it into this thing that wouldn't completely terrify the public. And just thinking about being on the other end of that, like how major like news networks and stuff like that might work, was really interesting to think critically about, okay, here goes this problem, now how can I make it without lying? This very interesting like thing that we can present without terrifying them. It was very different.
Great, thank you. And what Kian is indicating here is a very strong emphasis on current events and trying to grapple with very complex ethical issues with regard to not only how a singular leader makes a decision, but really how groups of people work together, right, to identify a problem and work to solve it. You see, recall at the very beginning when I was mentioning very briefly what LEDA was. LEDA exists because we identified a problem, right? And again, we're not the only ones, but we're working to solve that problem collaboratively. This is what we do in class, right? Mamadou, if you could please help us understand or help elaborate on a little bit of how you feel like your leadership skills developed in the Aspects of Leadership course.
I would say my leadership skills, like, it developed, I guess, exponentially in the sense that, like, I learned that the term leadership, first of all, is like much more complex than what it actually like means. Like people like I wouldn't say abuse the word, but like they just be like, hey, you need some leadership, or they use it so casually. But like the word is like incredibly complex and like also. And in that, I also learned that like being a leader doesn't include like the like not the stereotypical things of being a leader, but it's not just about like taking initiative and like being loud, but it's also about like being quiet. It's also about being able to listen to other people talk, and it's also about being able to be like the humble one, and like even by doing that, you're like still being a leader.
Wonderful, thank you. And some of the specific skills that we focus on in this course, as Mamadou mentioned, listening skills, right, which is part and parcel to communication skills. How to articulate an argument. You see, how to elaborate and work with others to build a cohesive argument, right? Other skills such as reading comprehension, okay? Trying to assess, analyze, and synthesize many, many different types of information that contribute to an event, right, that's happening in the world as we know it, right? So it's very hands-on and is very exciting because everything we talk about has tremendous amount of relevance to the scholar. In addition to all the skills mentioned that we seek to develop in our Aspects of Leadership course, we focus wholeheartedly on the skill of writing in the second component of our institute, which is our college writing course. Now, separate from Aspects of Leadership, you will be taking a college writing course which meets in a classroom setting of no more than 12 students per class. And in addition, you'll be working with your writing instructor in the evenings in the dormitory where you'll be living to work one-on-one with him or her to really help develop and hone and polish your writing to ensure that it's at the level of a college writer. You see? Now, over the course of the summer, our writing instructors will work with you on many different types of writing, and then all of these types of writing will culminate in you writing your personal statement for your college applications, right? Now, Syra, if you could help us out, tell us a little bit about, if you recall, it's been a little while since you've been at the Institute. Tell us a little bit about the process of receiving writing help in our college writing program.
Yeah, so as Josh said, so throughout the summer you do meet with your writing instructor every single week. So those sessions are very personal. You talk about what your writing process is, what you mean by what you're writing. You develop a lot of ways to express your ideas that weren't obvious before. For me, at least personally, in high school, I never learned how to actually express what I'm trying to say. And then after the Summer Institute, it's just as involved. You submit drafts of all of your college essays, which hopefully at this point are already at a more advanced stage because you've done already so much learning throughout the summer. And then writing instructors go through and they comment on all of the writing that you've done, and they work with you on making these pieces as perfect for you as they possibly can be.
Great, and that last bit is very, very important. Thank you, Syra. Most important for you. Writing is a very personal thing, right? However, no matter what you study in college, whether it's a STEM-focused major, social sciences, pre-med, law, anything you study, you still have to be able to write, right? So while writing is a very personal endeavor, and our writing instructors will work with you one-on-one to develop that personal story, there are still habits of mind that young learners need to adopt in order to really polish their writing to succeed at the college level. And let's go back to Kiana. If you recall, what types of essays did you write in the writing course?
Okay, so I hope I'm remembering correctly, but I believe the first essay that I wrote was about my experience acting, because I did a lot of theater in high school, and it was kind of talking about how my life at home flowed into my work as an actor whenever I was younger. And that ended up actually becoming part of my personal essay. It changed a lot, but the general idea was the same. And then after that, I wrote this, my research paper was about sleep paralysis. It was just this really interesting thing to me. It was kind of also about like the Salem witch trials and how maybe this one scientific explanation could explain those kinds of things. And so I got to explore something that was a little weird, but that was definitely also in an academic kind of writing. So it was something that wasn't academic, but I had to kind of make it academic in that way, and it was really fun for me.
Excellent, excellent, very good. And I should say too, the college writing program, as well as the aspects of leadership course, we work very hard to ensure that you are being led by experts in all of these fields. So we recruit and take on a number of faculty members to teach you over the Summer Institute, and they all come from higher education. Many of the writing instructors come from Columbia University's Writing Center, and many facilitators come from Ivy League institutions. They are professors there, so they are well adept and hold a lot of expertise in these fields. In addition, though, however, to aspects of leadership and your college writing course, you will as well be on a comprehensive college guidance program. Throughout the summer, the college guidance program will also meet in a classroom setting of much larger numbers. We will meet in a classroom setting about 2 times a week, and as well you will meet with your college guidance counselor in the evening in the dormitory where you'll be staying. And the overall goal of our college guidance portion of the Summer Institute is exposure. It's to expose you to all of the opportunities that are available to you after you graduate high school. So this is everything from how to navigate the college admissions process to understanding financial aid to how to advocate for yourself, not only in that personal statement, but elsewhere in the application, and really to have a firm grasp of what it is that you need in a college, right? So a lot of the components of our college guidance program are about exposure to new environments. So in addition to being on campus at Princeton and learning everything you need to know about how to research and apply to school, we will take you on 4 college trips throughout the summer. Now, if I can toss it to Mamadou, can you elaborate for us, where did we take you last summer? What colleges did you see?
Oh, so I guess it was this past summer, and I seen about like many of the elite colleges on the northeast. Yeah, so we went to Yale, Johns Hopkins, Georgetown, which I really loved. What other schools? Oh, and Columbia especially. And I was like, I was one of my favorites because like you get to see like all the other people visit Columbia, and like, well, Columbia's like in the middle of New York City, and you also stay in New York City, but yeah.
Wonderful. And so in addition to the schools you mentioned, we take scholars to Philadelphia to visit UPenn and Swarthmore. As Mamadou mentioned, we take students to Washington, D.C. to visit Johns Hopkins and Georgetown. And we have a little bit of luxury time to be able to see Washington, D.C., which is very exciting. We talk a lot about politics and aspects of leadership, so it's a very special experience to see the nation's capital. We also take you to Connecticut, as Mamadou mentioned, to visit Yale and Wesleyan. And we finally take you to New York City, which, beyond the excitement of visiting New York City for mostly the first time, we also take you to Columbia, and we have a fortunate opportunity to take the women to Barnard. And so, Syra, if I could toss it to you, what was the most memorable experience that you had on these college trips?
That's an easy one. So like I said, I'm from Texas, and I'm from rural Texas. I never had left Texas before coming to LEDA. So the New York trip was mind-blowing for me. When I remember when we got to Columbia's campus, I was so excited, and I was just so overwhelmed by how wonderful it was that I just started crying because it was just so mind-blowing, and it was just crazy that I was there, and that just knowing that even being there in the future was a possibility for me.
Right, exposure, right?
Yeah.
Really stepping out of one's comfort zone is very important to us, and we are there to make sure you're comfortable. However, it's very important to stretch the mind, stretch the experience, stretch your aspirations to really identify what it is you want in a college and a college experience. Now, in addition to taking you on 4 college trips throughout the summer, we work very hard to ensure also that you're exposed to other schools. So what we do is we actually bring college admissions officers to Princeton University, and they present their college to you and tell you why Dartmouth is the place for you to be, or you got to apply and get into Occidental, or again, Texas, Rice. You gotta apply and get into Rice. We're gonna make sure that you are exposed and that you're asking good questions of these admissions officers, and that you're highly well equipped to be able to not only apply but to get in and succeed at these schools. So in addition to aspects of leadership, college writing, and college guidance throughout the Institute, we also have a robust ACT/SAT preparation course that you will be on for 10 hours per week. So for 10 hours a week, you are in a classroom setting learning all the strategies you need to learn in order to navigate and master the ACT and or SAT. Our ACT/SAT test prep courses are taught by phenomenal tutors from a private tutoring firm in New York City called Advantage Testing. They come to Princeton University and give you 5 hours on a Tuesday afternoon, 5 hours on a Thursday afternoon of practice in all ways, so you can ensure that you're well informed about how to take the exam. Now, a very important point to consider, I'm sure many of you have already taken these exams, but these exams do not test how smart you are. They don't even test how prepared you are for college. What they really test is how good you are at taking the test, right? And so therefore, we find it highly valuable to learn from professionals that know these tests backwards and forwards. You will learn with your peers, and you will take diagnostic exams not every, but almost every Saturday morning to mimic the actual test conditions. Our goal is to ensure that you're fully prepared for these exams when you return home. Now, I'd like to go back to Kiana. If you could recall, what did you find most helpful about our ACT/SAT preparation course?
Well, I really like the courses. I liked being in the classroom because I feel like, at least for the math part, we were grouped with people who had similar issues, who were on similar levels. So it was something that we would go over every problem that we felt like we needed to go over, and it was great to have that kind of attention paid to each and everything that you didn't understand. But aside from that, I really just enjoyed being able to take them, even though it was Saturday morning and it was early, but it got me into that habit of taking those kinds of tests, and it almost grew my mind in that way that you're talking about, to where it was something that I was very used to doing almost every week. So whenever I went home to take it, it was much like, it wasn't as stressful. I was almost used to it. It wasn't a big deal, and I really appreciated that confidence that came from taking it all the time and then discussing it and talking about it. And as I took my test, it's like I could almost hear the tutors kind of saying, like, oh, watch out for this, and they like commas here on this kind of test and then not on this kind of test. It was very, very useful to me.
Wonderful, that's great. And Mamadou, take us a little bit through, what happens in an ACT/SAT preparation course. They're actually pretty rare courses that not everybody's allowed to take, because really they're very expensive, right? To take private tutoring for these exams, most companies, they actually pay, right? They charge you. You have to pay to take these exams. Now, if you recall our mission and what we believe about education, we find that unfair, that everybody takes the same exam, but some people are able to afford, right, test prep and others not. So for those of us that aren't familiar, Mamadou, take us through what you actually do in class.
Well, I feel like I was privileged enough to have John Roberts as my teacher, and what he is just as an amazing ACT instructor. And I mean, he's really good. So in the class, we did prep after prep. So we would go through worksheets after worksheets, and he'd just time us, and it's rigorous, but at the same time it's so worth it, because when you see your score improves, not to say there's no greater feelings, but it feels really great to conquer a test. And he also makes the test easy, in the sense of he explains to you that it's the test is not that deep, in the sense that it's not that hard. It's just another test. The only problem is you just need to prepare yourself for that test. and then I reiterate that to you over the summer and over the courses.
Sure. Great. Thank you very much. And as we've heard, we're going through the different components of our Summer Institute at Princeton University, right? And I should take a moment to say, I already see some questions. That's fantastic. If anybody has any questions, please feel free in your Q&A app. You're able to type in questions, and we will absolutely get to your questions by the end of our discussion, okay? So we're talking about our Summer Institute at Princeton University, okay? It's a 7-week academically intense experience, and we've gone through 4 components of the Institute: aspects of leadership, college writing, college guidance, and ACT/SAT preparation. Now, the 5th component of the Institute, okay, is really the one that takes up the most time, just in the sense that it is your living situation. We have a robust residential life program whereby all 100 scholars live in the same dormitory on Princeton's campus, a beautiful dormitory called Forbes Hall, and we ensure and we highly value the development of community. Now, community to us is not just a buzzword. Community to us is part and parcel to leadership and solving problems. So throughout the summer, we do a lot of work in class and out with regard to how to collaborate with one another, right? So nowhere is this more prevalent than in the residential life program. So as I mentioned, all 100 scholars live in the same dormitory, and we separate the males and females into different floors and different wings, and we ensure that you have not only a safe experience, but a memorable and very fun experience. Now, on this score, I have to yield to my LEDA Scholar colleagues, because you're the ones that experience this, and there's so much going on with residential life that I'd love to hear your take on it. So if I can go over to Syra, explain a little bit about, what happens in the residential life. Let's start on the weekends, because we don't have class on the weekends, right? We have class Monday through Friday. Okay, so what do we do on the weekends?
So the weekends, some days are packed. Like, for example, if you have testing that day, half of your day is spent taking a test. There are times, though, when time management becomes a really important thing, because there's free time, of course, and there's free spaces where you get to hang out with your friends. But at the same time, you have to remember that there's a lot of work to be done. So there's spaces, there's libraries in Forbes where scholars get together to do homework. Scholars also get to go out. I remember I used to go out to Nassau Street, which is the place where people go and get Starbucks or grab a bite to eat if you don't want Princeton food. There's also scheduled community time. So there's different activities that our Res Life director puts together. They vary from game shows that kind of scholars kind of compete against each other, or sometimes we even just have discussions, like really important discussions that we feel the need to have about things happening in our community. Stuff like that. So it varies every weekend. There's usually always something going on. It's fun, though. It's definitely fun, and you get really close to your fellow scholars from just hanging out with them and experiencing all these different things.
Sure, thank you. Now, it's initially a very scary proposition, right, to come to Princeton University, New Jersey, by the way, about equidistant from Philadelphia to New York. You can check it on a map. It's pretty far for most of you, and it could be very scary, right, to come out for 7+ weeks and live in residence at Princeton. Most of our scholars had never left home before, and some never flew on a plane before. So, Kiana, could you tell us a little bit about, what it was like meeting all those new people and being away from home, and how you got over the initial feelings of perhaps homesickness?
Okay, so it was one of my first times I hadn't been on a plane since I was probably 4 or 5, so it had been a very, very long time. So it was great to be able to do that. My grandmother took me to the airport, and I loved my grandmother to death. So it was definitely hard leaving her, but it's like I got there, and at first I was just meeting all these new people, and everyone was so different, and I appreciated that. I come from a community that's very this or that, and all these people at LEDA, it was just like a million different kinds of people, and I really appreciated that. And I got so caught up in reading one, and then also meeting new people and experiencing like and understanding new ways of life. Like there were so many ways to live besides just what was in my community, and I didn't really realize that until I got around the scholars. Um, so I guess I really just got over it because I was so excited about learning more about other people and understanding how other people lived and how they worked in this community, because this was a kind of family that I had never been a part of before. Um, so yeah, I missed my own family a lot, but I also gained one pretty quickly. It was kind of amazing to me because I'm such an introvert, but it definitely worked out great. My roommate was really great. We were very close. We actually, yeah, no, I don't have to go into it. We were very close with each other. We supported each other. It was not, I won't say that I ever really got very homesick, just because there was so much support, so much community.
Great, thank you. In addition to many staff and faculty that either live in the dorm or are constantly in the dorm vis-a-vis office hours or meetings with students, we really value this idea of scholar-to-scholar connection and scholar-to-scholar learning. That is to say, we are here in a supportive capacity, right? And what we learn from each cohort is that scholars learn just as much from one another, if not more, than the staff and faculty. And that's really very important to us. Many of our scholars tell us how they form lifelong bonds with their cohort mates. It's not to say it's always easy. Mamadou, if you could, tell us about a challenging component of the residential life program. What is challenging about living in the dorm with 99 other previous strangers? We can't hear you. There you go. Thank you.
Hello? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So there were like I'd say like two things. So I like to think I'm social. I'm a social person. So, but it was the concept of like learning how to talk to people and like learn their entire background and just like suck it in. And then like once that happens, you talk to somebody else, and then they're just as interesting as the last person. And then being able to like not manage that, but just like being able to understand that like you were literally with people that like had completely different experiences as you or from you. So that was an obstacle, but then I like learned to manage that because like they all became family by the end of the course. And then I also I like sleeping early, but not, it wasn't early. It wasn't never too early, but it was like 10:30, and understanding that I had to manage my time to the point where like I had to get all my work done, I had to get stuff printed before I had to go into my room. And like curfew, there's curfew, but it's like a reasonable curfew. There was other students found it like completely reasonable, as opposed to like I'm a little bit more freelance, but like I just had to learn like the time management skill, which like really came in handy, like especially when I came back home. Came back to New York, and understood that like I had to go to sleep at a certain time in order to wake up well the next morning.
Right. Great, thank you. Now, as I mentioned, the goal, one of the major goals of the Institute with regard to aspects of leadership, writing, and college guidance is exposure, right? Expose you to new ways of thinking, expose you to new ways of considering your future when it comes to college. In our residential life program, it is indeed exposure to diversity of views, right? Now, diversity to us is another very important idea and practice. And it's not just a difference in how we look. Diversity is far more important than that. Diversity is about what Mamadou and Kiana were talking about with regard to learning about people and from people that have very different experiences in life, and yet you can find even more that connects you, even more shared values than the differences in experience. And that is highly valuable with regard to learning, real learning. It's a very exciting program, and very briefly, before we get off of residential life, Syra, why don't you tell us what is the LEDA Olympics?
So the LEDA Olympics are a fun event Well, it depends according to who you ask. So they usually happen around the 4th of July. And we go out to this really big field at Princeton, and all the RMs, the resident mentors, who are actual LEDA scholars, who kind of are there to as support, but also to kind of make sure you're following all the rules. They host this event, they put it together, and they separate you in teams, and each team has a different color, and it turns into this really fun thing. Like, people paint their faces in that color, they make cheers, and it's a competition essentially, and they have different competitions. Some of them are silly, like Chubby Bunny, where you put marshmallows in your mouth, and others are more athletic, like doing the wheelbarrow. But it's really fun, and then there's other LEDA staff that's there to as judges, to kind of judge the competition, and it's a day-long event. It is fun. It's fun, and it also definitely helps with the bonding.
Wonderful, absolutely.
Cohort 11, right here, winner.
Yeah, quarter 11 winner of the LEDA Olympics.
Cohort 8 winner.
Wow, we got a lot of LEDA Olympic winners here. That's fantastic. As Syra mentioned, not only the LEDA Olympics, but the entire Residential Life program, our scholars are guided through the process by virtue of our resident mentors. And as Syra accurately mentioned, our resident mentors are there to ensure that rules are followed, rules are put in place for scholar safety, and to ensure that we know where everybody is. It's very important that our scholars remain safe from the moment they arrive to the moment they leave. We take great pride, and we take that very seriously. And our resident mentors and our great residential life staff, led by our director of residential life, work very, very hard to design programs that are fun, that are community building, but also work very, very hard to ensure that everybody is of healthy mind and healthy body to really get at the hardcore learning that we so value. Now, at the end of the Institute, however, remember I mentioned this is just the beginning, right? By the end of 7+ weeks, by the first week of August is when scholars go back home to begin their senior year, right? However, we stay with you not just throughout the college application process, whereby you will work with your college guidance counselor and your writing instructor remotely, but for life. We will maintain a relationship with you throughout your college experience, helping you with really anything that you might need from us, beginning with college transitional issues, working your way through internship opportunities, resume building, interview techniques, going through to graduate school applications, job applications, and really anything that you might need from the organization. We like to say that once you're a part of LEDA, you are always a part of LEDA, LEDA for life. And the very best part that I have not yet mentioned is, and I'd like if everybody could turn their mutes off so we can hear everybody. And at the same time, I want everyone, let's tell them how much is this going to cost them. 1, 2, 3, 0. Nothing. Wow, that wasn't choreographed, but you get the point. This requires no financial commitment from you at all. Our scholars, what type of investment we require of our scholars is an enormous amount of work, development, growth, open mind, a sense of adventure to come to a new place for the whole summer, to meet new people, and really to enjoy this process of getting into college with others. It can be an isolating process. It need not be the case. But we're not also a college access organization. We're also a college success organization. We're very, very passionate about ensuring that you succeed wherever you go. Now, going back to the very beginning of this process, which we are right now, we are in our recruitment season, I'd like to turn it over to Director of Recruitment and Admissions, Iris Early, who will walk us through the application process.
Yes, so thank you guys so much. Thank you, Josh. I'm just going to quickly share my screen so I can show everyone how to start and complete your LEDA application. So, So first off, you can access the application through our website by going to ledascholars.org, and on the home page, click here under Apply to LEDA, and it will take you to the registration page. You can also go directly to leda.fluidreview.com as an alternative. If you have already created an account, you can always sign back into your application here. And if you need to sign up for an account, this is where you do it. So we ask you for your name. Now I'm going to pretend like my name is Harry Potter because that's my dream. And then we need your email address. So and then you're going to need to create a password with 8 characters or more. And a cell phone number. And so this is just so we can send you text updates about the deadline and reminders, and then you register. So once you've registered, you will receive an email confirmation. And once you've done this, you'll see instructions on how to complete your application. You'll confirm your registration, and it will take you to your home page. So let's get started. When you log into your account, you will see your home page, which is going to be a list of tasks to complete. So for part 1 of the application, we are asking for academic information, a teacher recommendation, biographical and school info, extracurricular activities, essay questions, upload a photo, a academic release form, family information, and a writing sample. So you do not have to complete the application at once. You can, log in and out as many times as you need to. And the first task, the academic information request, you'll need to provide a counselor's name and email address. So this part is really important. You want to make sure to give your counselor enough time to complete the academic information. And so once you log in their name and their email address, they will receive an email similar to the one that you received, inviting them to complete your recommendation. So once you press submit, the task will appear on your home page as pending. So when this is completed by your counselor, it will show up as complete. And until this task is complete, you will not be able to submit your application. So it's really important that you monitor that and that you check in with your counselor to make sure that they received the invitation and that they know about the program and what you're asking them to provide. Many times counselors will not receive the invitation to provide your recommendation, so in that case we can help your counselor log in, but we need to know that they haven't received the invitation. Same goes for your teacher recommendation. And next up, I'll just walk you through a task. So here you see it's incomplete, but we can start our task here. You'll be asked for different basic information, and once you've completed it, you just click next to go to the next page. Now you'll see you will not be able to click through if you do not complete the required questions. It's really important that you make sure to click all the way through every task and always press save and continue editing before going back to your task page. On your home page, you'll be able to gauge your progress. So as you complete different sections, it will then say complete for those tasks. So this one is an easy task for us to complete. And let's put my mom in there. and the date they signed it. She approves. Okay. And so then I can save and exit, and then we'll see on my home page that I have completed that task. Once all your tasks are completed, you will be able to submit your application here, which you see I cannot do yet because I haven't completed the rest of my tasks. So some trickier questions. So we ask you for a writing sample. This writing sample should be something that you have already written for school, for an English class or a history class, and should have already been graded. And really, we're just trying to get a sense of your writing in school. If you don't have an essay that's been graded, or you don't feel like the essays that you have meet the requirements that we've laid out, that's okay. We just want a piece of writing that you've done for school. So be sure to reach out with us with any questions about that. For the extracurricular activities and awards section, we want to know all the activities that you're involved in. So this means we're interested if you have a part-time job, if you're babysitting a sibling, we just really want to know how you're using your time outside of the classroom. And so be sure to answer all the questions. If you don't see your specific activity in the drop-down, you can try to select a more broad group. So if you are in a photography club and didn't see that, you can say another art club, and then you'll have a chance to describe what you're doing for that club. Because, each club is different at different schools, and what we care about most is your commitment to it, and why you're a part of it and why it's important to you. And remember always to save before you move around your application. And for leadership activities, if you don't have a leadership activity in an activity, that's okay. Again, we're just really interested in learning more about you and what you're doing outside of the classroom. For your essay questions, it's really important to, take time writing your essays. You want to make sure to edit it. You can, allow someone else to maybe review it for you. This is really your one chance that isn't your grades or your courses, and it's a chance for you to tell us who you are and what you're passionate about and what you're interested in and what makes you who you are. So definitely take time and don't leave this to the last minute. Because it's a really unique opportunity for you to sort of get to tell your own story. And for the family information part, you need to complete with your parents. We'll ask questions about your family background, education, family income. So it's really important that your parents complete this section. If your parents do not speak English, it's definitely okay for you to complete it with them and to help them translate the different questions on the application. So again, please take your time and get started early. The application does take a bit of time to complete, but it can be a really valuable experience helping prepare you for your college applications and giving you a chance to sort of organize all of those activities and, to reflect on all your classes. And yeah, it can be a really rewarding experience. So that is the application tutorial. Again, make sure to check in with your teachers and your counselors. At the end of that, before the December 11th deadline, sometimes we'll run into students who have completed their entire portion but didn't check back in with their counselor or their teacher to confirm that they had received the invitation. So please be sure to check in with them about that. And now I will bring us back to the group. For some question and answers.
Great. Thank you, Iris. There are some questions here in the chat. If anybody has any questions, once again, there's a Q&A app, and you can write in your questions. If we can briefly address them. We have a little bit of time, just because there might be people that have the same question. So first and foremost, here's a question about what is good. What is best or most preferred with regard to writing on the application? Is it good to write in a more formal style? Is it okay to add personality to the writing? I would personally say both. It's very, very important that you show who you are in your writing, that you do ensure your personality shines. However, it's also very important just also to adhere to the forms of writing in an application. That is to say, heed grammar, of course, heed structure, of course, but what we're really looking for is story, right? So we want your personality to shine. However, you wouldn't use the same language that you would with a friend, telling them how your day went, right? So I would say use your best judgment in balancing the two, formal and personality. We really want to be able to understand who you are in your writing.
I saw another question about what to do if your counselor has not received the invitation. In that case, you do need to reach out to us directly in the recruitment department. You can email recruitment@ledascholars.org or call us anytime at 212-672-9705, and we will reset your password so that you can log directly into the site to get information about the application. And we have another question for our scholars. Were you guys nervous about, getting accepted? And, how did you feel during the application process and completing your own application?
So I guess I'll start. I was like, you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I was really nervous. So when I started filling out the application, I feel like I started pretty early, which was good. But I did everything but the essays. But I was fortunate enough to have a senior in my school helping with my essays. I mean, she went to the library. I couldn't use my computer at home because it didn't work well enough. But I went to the library, looked at my essays there. She helped me last minute. And then once I submitted round 1, I was like, oh, wow, there's a round 2. And apparently you find out there's a round 2 and then a round 3. And then you have an interview. All of that, it may seem rigorous, but it's truly not. And then once you get it, it's super worth it. And when I heard it, I think it was actually I was just sitting at Columbia, and I was just it was a bad day for me. But then when I just read the letter, I was super pumped. I just yeah, me and my friends we just celebrated all day. It was so fun.
Yeah, so what you just saw is part 1 of the application. So that is where we ask for the majority of the information. If you are one of the strongest applicants from part 1, we do ask for supplemental information in part 2, like Mamadou just told you. So we'll ask for an updated transcript and test scores. We'll ask for a copy of your family's most recent tax return and for proof of citizenship. And then taking that into account and part 1 of your application into account, we will then invite you to interview. And so we'll do your interview either over the phone or over Skype. And again, this is just a chance to get to know you a little bit more and make sure that this is an opportunity that you're excited about. And do you guys remember your interviews at all? Can you guys tell me a little bit about if you were nervous or what they were like? Were there any questions that were really tough for you?
I'm not sure if I remember any specific questions, but I remember the interview. So it was actually during school one day, and so I had to go into a conference room and talk on a school phone to actually, Iris, I think you're the one who interviewed me. So I was incredibly nervous. I don't know if any of you that are watching have ever had the experience of not really being able to breathe because you're so nervous, in a way that's how do I calm myself down and let myself come through rather than being so nervous and like kind of feeling. So I was definitely nervous because I couldn't believe that I had made it to 3, because whenever Nicole, which was the other person who was working with Iris at that point, came to visit my school and told me basically everything that you've heard so far, I was like, how can this be free and then be what it is? It just kept seeming too good to be true. I got through round 1, round 2, so I was incredibly nervous for round 3, but I pulled through. It worked out. That's all that matters.
Great. And so another question about the structure of the summer. So will you have mentors and counselors there to talk to you throughout the 7 weeks? Syra, do you want to take that one?
Yes, I do. So for the college guidance process alone, you have 2 counselors, I guess, at your disposal. There's a college guidance counselor and the college guidance coordinator. You'll meet with both of them 2 times throughout the summer, so that's 4 meetings in total. So they are there not only to help you, like we talked about with the college guidance process, like it's a very personal process, but it's also, I was a college guidance coordinator, which is, if I speak in first person, that's why. We're there to support you as a human and as a scholar as well. And like I said, we stay with you after the summer's over, so we're kind of there for that support. But we also have resident mentors who are near peer. Our resident mentors are in college, and so they're there to be any sort of help that you need. And yeah, I mean, pretty much all of the LEDA staff can serve as a mentor, as a support system for you. We're all there all the time. So yes, you'll have plenty of counselors and mentors available for you.
Great.
And in addition, I should add, one of the things that make it different from high school and a unique academic atmosphere is that you will see your faculty members in the dorm, on campus, in the dining hall. So in addition to the robust mentorship programs that we have built with older scholars that are now in college, and in addition to all of the staff that will work with you in a college guidance capacity, you will also see your facilitators, writing instructors all over campus and in the dormitory, in the dining hall, to make it a very comprehensive and inclusive program, even academically. So it's not the sense where you just go to learn in a classroom and then you don't see your instructor again. We have a very tight-knit community and throughout the entire summer, a lot of mentors, a lot of counselors.
Great. And so, yeah, if you are admitted, you know, Natalie asked how long the program is. And so the program lasts for 7 weeks. Usually it goes from about the 3rd week in June until the 1st week in August. So you would be there for the full 7 weeks living at Princeton for the summer. And how
do they get there and back?
Yes, so we will, you know, reach out to you once you've been admitted and find out what airport you're closest to. We will purchase your plane ticket and send you a packet of information about your flight and about what to expect during the summer, information about where you'll be living, what to pack, your first, you know, work assignments for aspects and for writing, and then we will be at the airport ready to greet you. We'll put you in a bright orange t-shirt so you're easiest to spot in the baggage claim, and then take you to Princeton on a bus with the other scholars who are arriving. So if there are other scholars who live near you, we will try our best to get you guys on the same flight, and then we'll be there to pick you up right when you arrive at Newark Airport in New Jersey.
And just to add on, like, when they say completely free, I mean, like, literally, like, even if you happen to forget, like, utensils, like deodorant or something, like, they will get it for you if you need it.
Yeah. Okay, so another question about who to have complete your college, your academic information request. And so you should make sure that whoever you're requesting that information from has access to your school records, has and can also send us a copy of your transcript. And the transcript does not need to be an official transcript, but we are asking for information about your course load. We're asking information about your high school, so it has to be someone who has access to that information. So if you have a guidance counselor and a college counselor, you should probably check in with them to see who is better at your school to complete that part of the application for you. Okay, and one more question about rolling admissions. So rolling admissions is something that we did in the past. This year we are not doing rolling admissions. So there's only one deadline and everyone will be notified at the same time. So that will be a little different than prior years, but will make things a little, cleaner, so you know when your due date is and when you'll be, and all find out at the same time. Okay.
Looks like we got another. Who do I refer to regarding financial information if the situation in the family makes it difficult to complete the application?
Yeah, so you should reach out to us directly. And the best place to reach us is the recruitment email. So again, recruitment@ledascholars.org. Or again, you can call the LEDA office anytime at 212-672-9705. And any, individual questions about your family financial situation, your family, situation, call, and we're going to do everything we can to help you complete the application. Really don't let that stop you. We're going to work with you to make sure that that process is as smooth as possible.
And it's important that, as Iris mentioned earlier, we've designed the application process to highly resemble the college application process, but also we really work hard to make sure that it's very personalized. So if you have any specific questions about your situation, please take Iris up on our offer and email us, call us, because everybody's situation might be a little bit different. And we may not have a standardized response to how you should deal with your financial situation, but call us and we're going to make sure that that's not at all going to prevent you from applying.
Okay, great. I want to thank everybody so much for coming. Our scholars, especially Kiana, Mamadou, and Syra, Mr. Rosenthal as well for sharing all that information about the program. We are so excited about reading this year's applications and really hope that you'll apply. If you do have more questions, please contact us at the recruitment email or call the office. You can also find that information on our website. So thank you all for coming, and we hope to learn more about you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.